The spiritual battle is coming to the West. And the enemies are wokeism or Marxism combining with Islamism to go after what we call the American way of life.
Hi, Steve here. What Charlie is talking about is the organizational methodology the devil is using, and those with his spirit of Antichrist behind it.
I'm not trying to be the heir to Turning Point USA. I kind of like my life. I don't want to take money from donors, okay? Because they do what they did to Charlie. They're not donating money to charity because they view it as a charity. They're doing it because they want to purchase your voice. That's it. And I don't want to give mine up. But what these people are telling me is a very dark story that involves these donors, sponsors, influencers, a takeover of sorts that I think was happening right under Charlie's nose. And I want to say this formally as we keep investigating this. I believe that Charlie Kirk was betrayed by people who are close to him. Based on what I have seen thus far, the evidence, the quote-unquote receipts that require a way deeper investigation into the apparatus, the financial apparatus at Turning Point, there was definitely some weird activity leading up to this moment happening at the organization, and I've been able to verify it. I have been given names, and I intend to now embark on this lengthier investigation, which I need more help on. I've reached out to some journalists. I'm sharing the information with them, and I think we're going to discover that this was ugly. Uglier than we could have ever imagined, okay? There is a fear here that we are all perceiving, a desperation almost to end the investigation. The smears are becoming radical. You can't just pretend Candace hasn't spoken to Charlie Kirk in years, but they're doing it. And they're trying to be convincing and shocked and putting this out. I've never stopped talking to Charlie. I mean, yesterday I released just one of many messages that I have with Charlie, which prove that he was, in the months leading up to this, concerned about Israel and how Israel was coming after our free speech. Free speech meant a lot to him, right? This message is from May. We can pull that back up, right? Charlie sent me his tweet because after the assassination of Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lachinsky in D.C., people were calling for like hate speech laws. And Charlie, authored a long tweet saying these were beautiful people. They had their lives ahead of them, but I must push back against one thing. And again, it was just the justification that this somehow meant that we had to, get rid of free speech. Like suddenly like, oh, well, this happened, so now we need to say free speech is wrong.
It is a spiritual battle, and for way too long, the church has acted like they're not in a battle. But we are. And it seems like the death of Charlie Kirk is what it took to wake up many people to this reality. Those who like to use the cliche, oh, that would never happen in America, they're beginning to realize, yes, it can, because of these enemies who want to destroy us.
And the American way of life is very simple. I want to be able to get married, buy a home, have kids, allow them to ride their bike till the sun goes down, send them to a good school, have a low-crime neighborhood, not to have my kid be taught the lesbian, gay, transgender garbage in their school, while also not having them have to hear the Muslim call to prayer 5 times a day. That's important.
The American way of life is what was common 70 plus years ago, but we've seen the virtues of Americans dissipate and erode over these last 7 decades. Charlie was finally shining a spotlight on this erosion.
We want the American way of life, which is, by the way, Christendom. Christians, our sacrifice, our toil, our vision, the outgrowth of the scriptures gave us Western civilization. And this is where I think is a great rallying cry. Doesn't matter if you're Hispanic, doesn't matter if you're Asian, doesn't matter if you're black or white. Everybody, if you are Christian and Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior, these two threats are combining forces to come after us. And it's time that the church stands and rises up against it.
Yep. Charlie said it. And it's time that the church stands up and rises up against it. Amy Meck once again points out just how real the invasion of America really is in this post. The Somali state of Minnesota, Minnesota is being systematically transformed, its people replaced, its cities turned into foreign enclaves, its future rewritten by mass migration and soaring immigrant birth rates, all by design. 130,000 new arrivals last year. Tens of thousands from Somalia, Ethiopia, and Mexico. Migrant birth rates soaring while native Minnesotans flee crime, welfare, abuse, and Islamic influence exploding. Minneapolis already holds the largest Somali population in the U.S., a hub for Sharia push and radical recruitment. You can see it on display at the Somali Culture and Music Night held this weekend. And now, Omar Fateh, a Somali-American Muslim and Democrat socialist, is poised to take City Hall as the next mayor of Minneapolis. But this isn't just happening in Minnesota. It's happening everywhere across the country. Texas, Florida, Ohio, New York, California. You'd be hard-pressed to find any state now that's not been exploding with a population of illegals flooding in. This isn't assimilation, it's colonization. They haven't come here to become good Americans. They've come here to take over America. King Solomon wrote, "What has been is what will be, and what has been done is what will be done. There is nothing new under the sun." What happened to Charlie Kirk is what has been happening for generations. Jesus told the politicians, the so-called spiritual leaders and lawyers of that day, "Woe to you." The real meaning of woe was great sorrow and distress is coming on you. Jesus was telling them that their evil hearts would lead to great sorrow and distress, and what they were doing now. Woe to you, Pharisees! You love the front seat in the synagogues and greetings in the marketplaces. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! You're like the unmarked graves. The people who walk over them don't even know it. One of the experts in the law answered him. Who are the experts in the law? Lawyers, politicians. Teacher, when you say these things, you insult us too. Then he said, Woe also to you, experts in the law. You load people with burdens that are hard to carry, and yet you yourselves don't touch these burdens with one of your fingers. Woe to you. You build graves for the prophets, and your fathers killed them. Therefore, you are witnesses and to prove the deeds of your fathers, for they killed them, and you build their monuments.
I mean, this is extraordinary. So this was received the day before he was killed.
Yeah, look, I mean, we were beefing. We were going at it online, on air, and then after he died, after he was murdered, my team called and said, Van, he was trying to reach you, man. What? And what was he doing? Dialogue. Let's be gentlemen together. He says, let's disagree agreeably. So I'm sitting on this and I'm watching the whole country talk about civil war, censorship, justifying murder about this guy. This guy is reaching out to his mortal enemy saying we need to be gentlemen, sit down together and disagree agreeably. And the next day he's killed. And I've sat on it long enough and I just said, you know what? We're going to Memorial Weekend for this man. We disagreed. Everybody knows we were not friends, okay? At all. But you praise the good when it's time to memorialize somebody. And what he did, and I didn't even know it, was good. He was not for censorship. He was not for civil war. He was not for violence. He was for dialogue, open debate and dialogue, even with me. Even with me. And I think what happens is people get so worked up, Anderson, seeing us go at it. They think they're supposed to go out and kill somebody, or go out and talk about civil war, or go out and silence people, or cancel people, or fire people, or censor people. About Charlie Kirk, Mr. Debate, I did not agree with him on literally almost anything. But we were words, not weapons, guys. We were words, not weapons, guys. And we were getting into a position where we could get some real debate going, whether it was going to be on CNN, on his show. That wasn't worked out. But I would have taken him up. I wanted to beat Charlie Kirk in a debate. I didn't want somebody to shoot him. That's how we do it in America. And the idea that now people on both sides are justifying murders and calling for civil wars, we got to calm this down, Anderson. We need to calm calm this down. We need to lower the temperature. Yes, we disagree, but like he said, we can disagree agreeably. That's his last words to me. Let's disagree agreeably. We have a choice now. This could be the beginning of us getting off of this pathway, but the pathway we're on, Anderson, is scary. It's about more violence, it's about more retribution, it's about more censorship, it's about more of everything that nobody wants, but we can't seem to get off of it. Charlie Kirk, in his last message to me, was pointing a way out. Civil discourse, civil dialogue, debate. Let's disagree agreeably.
Charlie Kirk was as much a prophet as any other prophet in the Old Testament. What's the qualification of a prophet? It's a man who speaks whatever God shows him to speak and to stand for everything God stands for before the people, no matter what the reaction. No matter how hard the battle rages, no matter how much the enemy attacks, Charlie did that. He called out the enemy, and the enemy didn't like that.
Why was he killed?
He was killed because his words made a difference. Because he was showing people the light. And he was killed by the dark.
Jesus called out the enemy, and they hated him for it. Jesus came to give his life for mankind, that no man should be lost, but have the opportunity to be saved. Charlie came to wake up a nation in deep corruption, lawlessness, and spiritual immorality, a nation under a vicious onslaught from darkness and spiritual depravity. He completed his mission like every prophet of God who has ever been called to serve God and serve God alone, speaking the truth to those who hate truth. From Enoch to the Apostle John, from Abraham to Daniel, the men and women of God have always stood for truth. Charlie Kirk knew what Jesus told us was the truth. A thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come so that they may have life and have it in abundance. And he also knew the most important point that every believer understands. It was when Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." Think about it.